Tonight on Tortured Bourbon, we compare and rate 4 bougie bourbons under $25 each.
But are they worth it? Stay tuned and find out.
What's up, Heather?
What's up, B?
Tonight is a special night.
It is. I'm really excited about this episode.
Because we're here
to try and rate 4 bougie bourbons on a budget. We went on a mission to our local ABC store for the good people out there.
We did this for the people. And we want to take this time to thank our loyal subscribers. And frankly, we are so grateful. It's really making this fun to do this, and we'd love to hear from you. But if this is your new time with us or you have forgotten before, we're going to take a dramatic pause, and you're going to press the little button down here that says like and subscribe.
And we would love to interact with you on our social media accounts. So if you can, follow us at Tortured Bourbon on X, Instagram, or Facebook.
That's right. And you can also email us at torturedbourbon@gmail.com.
That's right. We will take any communication you want to send our way. And if you happen to have a few extra pennies laying around, consider buying us a coffee by clicking on the link below. As the Temptations say, we ain't too proud to beg, are we, B?
We were all in college once.
We were.
We were all in college once.
I bet you did a lot of begging.
A lot of begging. Needed the money. All right. So back to our mission. Tell us about our trip, Heather.
Well, I was actually surprised, B, because I thought this was going to be a quick in and out. We were going to do this no problem. You and I took off one afternoon for our typical ABC store that we frequent a lot near our houses. And we were on a mission to find 4 good bourbons for $25 or less each. And we typically stay in a price point that's around $30 to $60.
Yep.
So I thought, okay, this is not going to be that difficult.
Right.
It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
It's really showing how popular bourbon has become.
It is.
There's people say things are costing a little bit more these days, but certainly bourbon has gone up in price.
Yeah.
But we were in reality when you're talking about a minimum wage of $7.25,
which it is in our state.
And you're saying, okay, we're going to spend $25 on a bottle of bourbon and or whiskey, and you're saying we're going to serve that at a party, and people are going to be drinking it, and they might be putting something in it like a Coke. You're having to make some decisions because if you throwing down $25 is quite a bit of money for some people.
That's right. And you want to make sure, we want to help you find that line between not breaking the bank, but finding something that you're proud to serve to family and friends at a party, whether they drink it straight, on the rocks, or they mix it in a cocktail.
And you won't go running for it to protect it.
Right. You won't throw your body in between the Coca-Cola and the bottle of bourbon.
But we were surprised at how difficult this is, but we were not just looking for spending $25 on a bottle of whiskey.
Right. We had standards.
We had some standards because it would have been, frankly, we could have bought several bottles and only spent $25.
Yeah, but that would have been no standards.
That would have not been
and
bougie.
we have graduated college since then.
That would not have been bougie.
So I added the bougie here.
Bougie.
I bring the bougie.
She brings the bougie. So we arrived at 4 whiskeys. They are both straight and bottled in bond. And to help, we know that there's some of y'all out there who might have seen those terms. We know a lot of you know it, but reality, there's a lot of people out there who don't know it. So let's help people understand what straight whiskey is.
Absolutely. And I even learned some new facts for this episode.
Fantastic.
So Kentucky Straight Whiskey, it's made in Kentucky. I'm sure all of you could have figured that out. The name comes from Bourbon County, Kentucky, back in the 18th century. Bourbon really rose in popularity through the end of the 18th and into the 19th centuries. But then come the early 20th century, Prohibition was a literal buzzkill to the industry.
You don't say.
You don't, yeah. So it took a while for the brown liquor industry to recover. And then in the 80s and 90s, clear liquor was all the rage. But come the late 90s and into the 2000s, whiskey bourbon has regained its popularity. And I would say right now it's probably top of the totem pole.
It's certainly come back with a vengeance.
It has. So in order to be considered Kentucky Straight, it needs to be distilled to no more than 160 proof. It has to enter the barrel at no more than 125 proof, and it has to be bottled at 80 proof, at least 80 proof. So we've got some upper and some lower parameters there. It also has to be held in barrels that are new charred oak barrels for at least a minimum of 2 years. Has to be at least 51% corn and no added colors or flavors. And that's really where the straight comes in.
That's right. So you're getting a defined age,
Mm-hmm.
and you're getting a defined.
You're
this
getting
is what
proof.
it is.
You're getting proof parameters, and you're getting a this is whiskey and water.
Yep. So when you see that straight label, that's
what you can
That's
trust
what
that
you
it's
get.
going to be.
we
And the higher corn.
and the higher corn.
content.
Absolutely. Now, bottled in bond is a term that comes around in 1897. You get into the late 1800s, and it's pretty laissez-faire in corporate America and in whiskey America.
Yeah, it's the wild, wild west out
It
there.
is the wild, wild west. In some places, it was the wild, wild west.
Correct.
And in some places, they just treated it that way. So people were slapping labels on anything
brown in
anything
color.
brown in color, and saying that it's whiskey, and it was creating a ripple. And to fix that, you have the 1897 Bottled in Bond Act, and this was a way to take distilled spirits and put a federal stamp on them, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
We're a good stamp act. Look at that.
There were different ones than
Yeah.
that, but we'll get into that another day.
Yep. So it comes from one distiller in one season. So you know who it's producing it, and it's all coming from one time. It's at least 4 years in a federally bonded warehouse is where it's aged, and that's important because that means that there are standards of how it's being aged,
Right.
Who's overseeing it, how it's being kept.
It's quality control.
It's quality control, and you see this in other industries with federally bonded warehouses. You see this in trade. You see this with art. This is something that happens in other.
This might have been a
things.
place where we needed some federal regulation.
It might have been. And it has to be bottled at 100 proof. So you are clearly getting where it's from, who made it, how long it's been aged, where it's been aged, and it's proof.
Strength.
It's proof.
Strength, yeah.
And it has to meet all the qualifications of straight.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be it at least gives you a quality control. Now whether you're
Yes.
going to like it when you taste it, that there is no parameter for that.
But at least this way we made sure there was a baseline that was met by all four.
That's correct.
And so which four did we come up with, B?
So we found 4 bottled in bond.
We did.
Old Granddad.
Coming in at $19.95.
That's right. That's less than one Andrew Jackson.
We think this might have been his favorite bourbon.
Might have been.
It was around back then.
The Evan Williams bottled in bond.
Coming in at $21.95.
Then the Mellow Corn bottled in bond.
Also coming in at $19.95, just like the old granddad.
One Jackson. Throw it down.
Throw it down.
And then finally, Benchmark bottled in bond.
Now this one broke the bank a little at $24.95,
Broke
but
the
it
bank.
still came under that $25 mark. And I promise you, spoiler alert, it is well worth every penny.
Well, now they don't want to watch the rest of the video.
That's the only one we've tasted. Though.
Okay,
I'm
fair.
being honest. I'm being honest with
It's
the
the only
people.
one you've tasted, fair. Honest.
is.
Okay,
It
moving
is.
forward. So, but here at Tortured Bourbon, we have developed a sophisticated evaluation system. We need to help the viewers at home understand what it is we're drinking
And what we think about it.
and what we think about it. But we also want to bring some Southern charm and sophistication. We want to help you get through the movie Steel Magnolias and know what's going on.
That's right. And if anything is Southern charm, it's the two of us.
That's right. So we worked with the professors and researchers at UNC and NC State respectively, and we came up with a 5 ranking system that we'll be using now on here at Tortured Bourbon to help you understand what it is we're drinking and what we think of it. I am now going to speak in the Southern vernacular, and then it will be translated to you by the lovely Heather in the King's English.
Sounds good. Let's roll.
For the best of the best, we rank that cock of the walk.
Right. And for cock of the walk, that goes back to any chicken coop where there is a rooster that rules the roost. He's the head guy. He's running things. He's the best of the best. So if we rank something cock of the walk, it's way up there.
Daniel Craig and James Bond?
He's yours. Yes.
Absolutely, cock of the walk. All right. For ones that we think are really good and worth your money, hush your mouth.
So this sounds like an insult, but in the South, this is actually shows excitement and interest. So saying hush your mouth is like saying shut up. Oh my God, girl. You're excited to find out what's going on, and you're excited to try this bourbon.
Heather, are you hooked up with Daniel Craig? Hush your mouth.
I think you'd be upset about that, actually.
Might be. So for everyday sippers, these are the tried and trues. And they're not, it doesn't mean it's average.
Right.
Tried and true. This is not an average. That dog will hunt.
Right. So every good country boy has his loyal hunting dog, and it's going to do exactly what you need every time. No more, no less. And that is what we feel about our everyday sippers, the ones that we know we can always turn to at the end of a long day, and it's going to be a good thing.
watch this emotional moment. Heather,
Yes.
I know where the red fern grows.
Why did you have to go there? You know what? Old Yeller.
Oh. Every good American cries at the end of Old Yeller.
Pour one out for Mary Jane.
Yep, pouring out for Old Yeller. All right, now, for your
Sorry,
bourbon...
I said that wrong. It's Mary Ann, actually. I have to give credit where credit gets due for where the red fern grows. It's
you
Mary
must be
Ann.
thinking about Tom Petty.
For the modern audience, could be Marley and me.
Oh.
We're not. That dog doesn't hunt, though.
That's fair.
Okay, all right. Now, there is bourbon that you need to mix. This is the bourbon that's going to require some Coca-Cola. It might need more than what an old-fashioned can provide, but it's still there, and it still serves a purpose. But you probably want to keep it away from the rocks or neat.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, we have Bless Your Heart.
That's right. And in the South, bless your heart is not a compliment, and it's not someone being kind. If someone tells you to bless your heart, it means you need to get it together, and it means you need some help. And when we rate a bourbon bless your heart, it needs a little help.
But the amazing thing about Southern women is they smile at you when they say it.
Oh, yeah.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart, or bless their heart.
Bless their heart.
They're the sorriest son of a gun I've ever seen. Bless their heart. Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. Now,
It's an art form. We're taught very young.
it's part of that genteel society.
We learn in Sunday school.
Oh, there you go. Now, for the bourbon that you need to leave at the bar, that you don't know what was going on with that. We call that piddling.
So this is bottom of the barrel. It's pathetic. It's sad. Don't buy it again. And if you can avoid it to start with, do so.
And we're going to try to avoid piddling all we can.
We are. And I can't think up to now anything that we would have probably rated this that we've had together.
If your grandma says that boy was piddling,
You better run the
you
opposite
better
direction.
run. So here we are, our very sophisticated system, copyrighted for Tortured Bourbon, brought to you, for you, by us. Now, our first one. Here we have Old Granddad, bottled in bond, made by the Jim Beam Company,
I've heard of him.
named after Basil Hayden, the grandfather of Jim Beam.
We are familiar with Basil Hayden as well.
Actually, we're very familiar with Basil Hayden.
That was
that
our
is-
pre-show
that is-
drink
that is
today.
that is our pre-drink today is Basil
Yes.
Hayden. Excellent.
Always a hit.
So Basil Hayden was the grandfather of Jim Beam, and this label has been around since the 1800s. It is has a cult following. I think that's how you would describe it to
I
me.
think that's right.
Old Granddad, 63% corn, 27% rye.
Oh, so we've got a pretty decent rye content here.
So by most accounts, that's a high rye, and then 10% malted barley. It's going to be full of spice, or it should be. But this comes in once again at $19.95.
So it's a steal.
What do you think of the labeling?
It's very retro, but it's neat. It's clean. It's got a fun orange and green combo, which is a little unusual, but I like it.
All right,
All right, you ready to try it?
ready to try it.
You can definitely smell the spice before you even taste it.
Oh yeah, it's there.
Definitely got the spice, the burn at the end, but not too harsh.
And I like spice.
Mm-hmm.
I like spice.
You probably like the spice more than I do. I tend to like the sweet a little bit more.
Yep. And I'm glad we warmed up with an 80 proof
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
because that's helping.
And we know that this is 100 proof, like B taught you earlier.
Bottled in bond. I love the color.
Mm-hmm.
I love the mouth. I like the spice. I think this dog will hunt.
That's where I would put this. Absolutely. It's not quite hush your mouth for me, but it's solid and it's an everyday sipper for me.
It's an everyday sipper. And you might throw an ice cube
I
in
was
it.
about to say on the rocks, or even this would make a nice old fashioned.
Very.
Next up, we have Evan Williams bottled in bond coming in at $21.95.
Made by the good people at Heaven Hill. And
Yes.
challenge, one day we will have an episode that doesn't feature Heaven Hill.
I don't think it's going to happen. It's a fan favorite around
It
here.
is.
But I'm looking forward to trying this one. I had a good friend in college who had Evan Williams Green Label every weekend, I think. But I've never had the bottled in bond, so I'm looking forward to it. I know it has a higher corn content at 78%, which probably guarantees a little more sweetness. So I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
It's got 12% malted barley and 10% rye. And I'm excited to try it. You ready?
Yep, I am.
Off the bat, it's got a really nice color.
It does. Oh, yeah. Smell changes.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely different than the
Definitely
old
sweeter.
Granddad. That is very pleasant.
That is. No burn.
Mm-mm. No.
For 100 proof, no burn.
No. No. Easy to sip.
Yeah.
That one, that dog is hunting, but it's the best hunting dog I've ever had.
So maybe it's going to give you some puppies.
It's going to give future generations
Future
of hunting
generations
dogs.
of hunting
Yes.
dogs.
It's not quite hush your mouth, but like this dog is hunting the heck out of something.
Okay, fantastic. Now next
What about
we
you?
have.
What is your rating?
Oh, I thought I said it was. With
Oh,
the
you're
puppies.
agreeing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry. Yeah, it's certainly that dog's hunting.
Okay, your dog's hunting too. All right.
And to be honest, that's where we hope these fall.
That's right.
That's where we hope these fall. Next we have. Now this caused you some moments.
This caused a controversy in the ABC store between us.
Yes. This Mellow Corn is made by the Heaven Hill people. So it's made by Heaven Hill.
It is, but
Comes in at $19.95.
I think a different marketing department within Heaven Hill designed the packaging.
Now,
for
to be
this.
clear, this wins awards. It wins awards every year.
But bless its heart, it's hideous.
It is a reject from the 1970s Mellow Yellow ad campaign.
I'm pretty sure those were the exact colors of my parents' first kitchen in their first house in 1979.
It really reminds me of before NASCAR became global.
That's a really good reference.
And this yellow screw top.
I don't think the packaging has changed since the Moonshiners were running this stuff.
And this yellow screw top, I got to tell you, but we did see it.
Oh, it makes itself known,
So-
like a neon sign. But look, I'm a sucker for good packaging. I'll admit that any day of the week. If you've got sleek, solid packaging, it's going to draw my eye and it's going to make me want to buy you. This made me want to run the other direction. But you convinced me because you articulated correctly. It has a following. People like it. So we're going to give it a
has a
try.
following. It is 100 proof. It is bottled in bond. Now, the reason it is corn whiskey and it is not bourbon is it is actually aged in the barrels that the Evan Williams would use. So they're not new barrels, but they're the used barrels.
Which means it can't be bourbon.
And they have a very similar mash bill. This is 80% corn. I think this was 78 or 79%.
78%.
Yeah, so you're talking a very similar mash bill.
Very, very similar. So I'm going to put aside my preconceived notions about the packaging, and I'm going to give it a taste with an open mind and an open palate.
Okay.
So off the bat, though, strike two, the color is heinous. It's not good. It's not good.
It's urine. It looks like urine.
Thank you. And now I get to try this.
I can't wait to
Yeah,
taste
have
it.
fun.
I can't wait
Have
to
fun,
taste
guys.
this.
It's delicious.
When I was in Scouts, we would have had to have put a tablet in this to be able to drink it.
The wilderness must be explored! Go, go!
To test it for
I mean,
bacteria.
We would have boiled this. I mean, we would put iodine in this or something.
It's not supposed to be this color. It should either be clear or like a dark amber. I don't know what this is, but it ain't it.
But we're going to do this for the people.
We are. Hey, look, we should open mind. All right?
Open mind.
Open mind. That's got to smell.
I mean, you can smell the corn.
And the ethanol.
And I have to tell you, it's not the worst thing I've ever had.
Well, yeah, you've had Everclear.
Yeah,
So,
it's a good point. It's fair.
if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
Piddling.
But we're going to rate that piddling. I would not buy that again, and I wouldn't even mix that.
But in all fairness, the people at Heaven Hill are the largest privately owned distillery in the United States.
They know a lot more than me.
It's family owned.
They do.
They're doing okay.
They're doing well, and it's a personal preference thing.
Their accountants say they're doing very well.
They are doing
So
very well.
somebody out there likes that baby.
That's right. They're still selling it. It's on the shelf. So
There's
it's a personal
someone-
preference thing. But we told you we'd never lie to you. So
But there's someone out there for everyone.
and there's a whiskey out there for everyone. That
Don't-
one's not for us.
Don't stop believing. Okay. So now we have Benchmark.
And this is a fan favorite around here. We're not going to lie to you.
It is coming in at $24.95.
That's
and
right. And the very first time you told me about this, you were excited that you had gotten it at the ABC store. So I believe I came
Absolutely.
over after work to try it. And after you told me who made it, which is the Sazerac company in their Buffalo Trace distillery,
Yep.
and I tried it. And then you told me it was $24.95. I looked at you and said, so it's free. Where are the rest of the bottles?
But I had asked, and we're fortunate that the good folks at Wake County said that this would be on the shelves.
And lucky for you and your life, they've been right.
So
We've
far-
been able to get it.
So far, now, funny enough, in Durham it is allocated,
That's right. Right across the border.
and they do it in drops. So we're fortunate.
We are.
$24.95. Bottled and Bond, Sazerac Company, as you said, named after the McAfee brothers. McAfee brothers surveyed Kentucky in the late 1700s, around 1770,
Mhm.
and they left benchmarks where they were doing surveys.
Oh.
And where the Buffalo Trace distillery now stands is land that they surveyed. And one day we'll get to make the pilgrimage,
Yes. One day we will come to visit.
and we'll have that opportunity. Until then, we'll just have to keep drinking the product to see what we see.
Oh, we'll just have to keep trying it. I hate
But
that.
but complete transparency, we've definitely had this before.
We have, but we're going
and
to taste it
gonna-
again with an
yeah, we're
open
gonna
mind
Taste again, see where we think.
and apply our new rating system.
That's the exciting thing for the people.
So you definitely smell that sweetness right off the bat.
Absolutely. Pretty color. We've mentioned color, so we need to mention their color.
It is a very nice color.
And immediately, it's good.
It's good. It's so pleasant. It's so easy to drink.
And it's got a little more spice than the
Evan
Williams.
Right.
But
The ending
not,
mouthfeel is a little more
yeah,
spicy.
but not Old Granddad.
No, and it's not overwhelming, and it definitely has that sweetness, that caramel, that little bit of cinnamon at the beginning when you first sip it.
Has a very nice, pleasant end.
It does. It's pleasant. It's pleasant from beginning to end, honestly.
Absolutely. So, what are you going to rate it?
This one might be one we differ on. So, hear me out. I'm going to rate this one as Hush Your Mouth. And the reason is because I'm factoring in not only taste, but I'm also factoring in the price point. Normally, if it was $50 or so, it would be that dog will hunt for me. But with the $24.95 price point, that's a Hush Your Mouth.
So I'm going to go solid with Dog Will Hunt.
Okay. Which is still good.
It might be the best dog.
That you've
It
ever,
might
the
be-
best
it
hunting
might-
dog you've
it-
ever had.
It might be the best dog on the table. But I'm interested to taste it against the Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond, Old Forester, the Prohibition. There's several I'd like to taste against it.
that are a higher price point.
A little higher price point, certainly. It will. In fact, I believe that the Heaven Hill is almost double. So I'm interested to put it against it because it is excellent. I don't know that I would pay, now that I've paid $24.95 for it. I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay $50 for this.
Right. But you don't have to.
But I don't have to.
And that is why we brought it to you.
That's right. So in summation, if you're throwing a party, I think there's a couple things that you can put together here. I think if you bring this out. Oh, excuse me.
Sorry to say, I think you're going for the spice.
That's right. What you get is you get a little sweet and a little spice. And at 25 or less, because this is
$19.95.
this is Andrew Jackson. Then the deal is, you're in good shape.
You are. You've got stuff that people are going to enjoy sipping neat or on the rocks, but then you are not going to be upset if you see them pouring some Coca-Cola or making a whiskey sour out of it.
And if you can't find this,
Because you live in a state where it's allocated, or a county, excuse me, that it's allocated.
if you slide this into the picture, you're really not missing out.
Everyone's still going to be happy.
Everyone's going to be happy. You can buy this by the half gallon.
Yes, you can. It's still a very reasonable price point.
Absolutely. I think this one was
for the half gallon, I feel like it was 40
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah. So you
If
can
not a little less. I think maybe mid 30s.
You can throw a nice shindig.
You can throw a nice party.
Yeah.
So which one are you going to cheers with this evening, B?
I'm
going with the benchmark.
You know, somehow I knew you were going to go with the benchmark. But I'll tell you what.
I know which one you're going to go with.
Even though that the mellow yellow. No.
No, you're not.
I'm going to go with Old Granddad.
I knew that was.
I'm going to spice it up here. It's been a good week, and
it has been a good week,
And
and we're excited to film some new episodes for you later this week.
Absolutely.
Be on the lookout for our newest drops later in the week,
Yeah.
and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Thank you again. Like and subscribe, and cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.